Hey guys, it's Benit. I'm here with a quick video to explain to you guys how to solve a problem that many of you have been having. I'll get to that in a bit. I just wanted to give a quick forewarning. This video might be a little bit advanced, so even if you can't follow through, just try to get as much as you can. You can always review the stuff we have on my website, mysaver.org, and yeah, so let's get to it. So, here I have a basic program, okay? It's a draw program. Everyone has seen this program before. You simply have a draw, and you have a fill for the ellipse that you have, and you put a mouse X and mouse Y, so it follows your mouse around, and it's about 20 big. 20 sizes, length and width. These two right here are simply just to make it so that when I click, something shows up, and when I let go, it disappears. Okay, and this can happen in any program. You might, for example, want to show a panel that will explain some data, some information to someone, and then you want it to go back so that the person can go back to their painting. But here's the issue, okay? As soon as I click this and let go, my previous painting has disappeared. So say I have this beautiful figure 8 right here, and I click because I want to see the red screen, and I let go. Oh no, it's gone. How do I make it come back? Well, here's what we're going to do in this program today. So let's get rid of this right here and we're going to get started. So we need to start with the var draw function. Okay, we'll say var draw is equal to function. And we've got our var draw function, so that will make whatever we put inside of it happen over and over. So we want an ellipse to occur over and over. And we'll have it a mouse X and mouse Y, because that's going to make it follow our mouse, make it 15 big. Okay? And then so now there it is right there, and we want it to be red, or actually I'd rather have blue, so let's put it in the last one. 255. Okay, and we also don't want any color, a stroke, sorry, so we'll put that in. And now we got ourselves a blue thing, and let's put in a background, just so that it's a bit more aesthetically pleasing than complete white. The red's a bit too strong for my taste. Let's go with a nice muted yellowish color. Okay, nice, beautiful. Okay, now we want this to only happen if, we only want this to happen if mouse is pressed, because we don't want it to paint if we're not pressing the mouse. So we're gonna put that there, and we're gonna close it here, so that only this will occur if the mouse is pressed. So it's not going to paint now, and then if I click, it paints. Beautiful. Okay, now we're going to make it so a panel shows up. Okay, so we're going to start with making the panel first. Actually no, to make the panel show up, we're going to need a button. So let's make a quick button real quick. Rect, sorry, can't type today. Okay, and we'll make it a 200, 200, and we'll make it 20 big, 20 big. Okay. Not really digging it. Let's make it lower. Lower, sorry. Starting there. Lower. Make it a bit wider. And make it a bit heighter. Sorry. Okay. Anyways. We should make it a different color. Let's make it... What color do we want? Red's a bit too strong. Let's go with a nice... Oh, this is nice. I like this. Yeah, okay, good. And now we want a text inside of it that explains what it does. So we'll make the text, and we'll say panel, and we'll put it at 200, 200, and we'll say that should probably be white, because if it's blue and we put it on a blue button, we won't be able to see it, We also probably want it to be a bit bigger, because that word is awfully small, so text size is what we use for that. And we'll make it roughly 30. Perfect. Actually, not roughly 30, exactly 30. Yep, love it. Okay. Yeah, good. Okay, great. Now that we've got ourselves the button, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in some if statements, some logic, just to make it so that if you press the button, then another screen will pop up. So, we'll say if, what happens? If the mouse is, first of all, we need to only make it if mouse is pressed. So we'll say if mouse is pressed. Okay? And if, okay, And let me comment this so that we don't get the error message real quick. And so, how do we want this button to work? We want this button to only work if mouse is inside this range right here. We don't want it to be anywhere here, okay? And so we're gonna say if mouse X, okay, because X is this coordinate, you know, it's along this axis right here, and Y is along this axis. So if mouse X is from here to here, then this should work, okay? So if mouse X is greater than this value right here, and what's this value right here? Well, we defined it as 150, okay? And if mouse X is less than, because right now it's saying more than 150, so that means anywhere over here works. We want it to be less than 150, so it's only between these two. Okay, so this right here is 150 plus the value that we added to it to make it longer, so 122. And I don't want to do that addition now, the computer can do it for me, so we'll just let the computer take care of that. Now mouse Y, okay, that's along this axis right here. Now we want it to be only between these two. So this point right here is going to be 307, as we said right here. So mouse Y is greater than 307, and mouse Y is no space needed, is less than 307 plus 40, which is the value for its height. So it's now in between these two, okay? And we'll, you know, make that happen, and if we do this now, it should completely work. And what do we want to happen when we click that button? Well, what we want, okay, is for the button to then create another state. Okay, we have two states in this program. One where we're drawing, and another state where we have the panel show up. So I'm going to create a variable here actually called draw state. Okay, and this draw state will control whether or not what state we're in. And it'll be useful too, because what we want is that we want the painting to not be available in draw state, in the panel state, because you know, right now this is great, okay, we can paint, but after I click panel, I don't want it to be able to paint anymore. So we'll say draw state is equal to panel, okay, and that's good. Okay, so right now we have draw state and painting, so it paints. We click panel, now it's in panel state, but it still paints. Why is that? Well, in our if statement we say mouse is pressed is the only condition it needs for it to be able to paint. We need to add in another condition here, and that condition is that draw state must be in the painting state. Okay, so now it's in painting. Okay, oh, and we want to check, we don't want to say that's that, so we're allowed to paint right now. Okay, and then we click panel, we're in painting state and we're not allowed to paint anymore. That's perfect. Okay, now we're gonna move on and we're gonna create what happens if we're in the panel state. So we'll say if draw state is equal to panel state, okay, and equal because that takes three of those, then we want the panel to show up. So we'll say background, and this panel can be, we don't want it to be red, we can have it be this color. That looks good. Yeah, perfect. Okay, and now a panel is here, and we're not allowed to paint anymore. Okay, now, we also need a way to get back into the painting state. Okay, so if you notice, in the Chrome, the way I get out of this browser, if I want to get out of it, is I use the X button here at the top. Okay, so similarly, I'm going to add an X button right here, and I'm going to say this X button should be, so I'll make a red X button, cancel button, and I'll say, well, let's make it a 200, 200, and we'll make it 20 big, and we'll see what that makes. Okay, a bit too big for my taste, let's try 10. A bit too small, let's try 15. Too big, 12. Love it, okay. And we also want it to be up in the top right hand corner, so we're going to change these values. Right roughly there. And it should probably be red, because I mean, we don't want it to be white, that's kind of ugly. let's put it there, right? Okay, wonderful. And we'll say it's red now. We also want an X inside of it because people might not know what the button is if we don't put an X inside of it. So we'll say text, and we'll simply say just X, and we'll say it's at 200, 200, and that's way too big. So we'll put text size, mind you, and we'll say that's like 10. Yeah. Might be too small, I don't know. We'll change that later. We also want it to be white, because if you put a red thing on a red background, you won't be able to see it. So, we'll change this now to be there-ish, and we'll change this to be roughly there-ish. Beautiful. And, okay. Is that good? It's a little off-centered, but it's good enough. Okay, and yeah, that text, the size was perfect too, right? 10 worked well. Okay, so now we need simply an if statement to change it back to draw state to be a painting, if we click inside there. So we'll comment this so we can get rid of the error, and we'll say if mouse is pressed, because we don't want it to happen unless mouse is pressed, and also we want it to be inside that little box right there. So if mouse X is greater than the starting point of this box, the starting point of this box is 369. And if mouse X, is less than 369 plus a certain value. And what's that value that we added to make it longer? 12. Okay. And we want mouse Y to start at this value right here. And that value we defined as 21. And we want mouse Y to end at a certain value too. We want it to end at 21 plus 12. Okay, perfect. And we'll say that, and we'll say if you click on that button, then draw state should probably change back to painting. Okay, now everything should work. So, we have that. Oh, and right, we probably want this still to change back to its original color. So we'll say, what was the original color? This was the original color. Okay, and we'll put you down one, and put you there, and restart this. So we can paint, we click panel, that happens, and we come back here, and perfect, right? Everything's going good. Okay, so now we can paint again, and now here's the one issue. We created the same issue that we had before. You can paint, you go to a different state, you come back, and the painting is gone. And that's part of the issue. That's what we came here to do. So how do we make it so the painting stays? We don't want that painting to disappear. Okay? So we're gonna use something called an array. Okay? And what's gonna happen is that I explained this in class. What happened is that what happens in, say, like if you were using painting program from Microsoft Paint, okay? What happens is every single location in which you paint, the X and Y coordinate, the X and the Y coordinate of that is put into an array. So the painting program knows where those marks of the dots are. Okay, each and every single dot. And to us this looks like a line, or like not a line, but like a curve, but these are made up of individual dots that are put together to make a line. Okay? And so, we're going to create a array, and we're going to call it matrix, because, well, why not? We could call it anything we wanted, really. And the way we make an array is we do that. Okay? And let me just quickly show you what an array does. So say I have the name of the array, and right there, and we put in data, okay? And so for this array here, we have words. So we have all these different types of cars, but in our array, we'll be putting the X and Y coordinates, which are going to be numbers, of the dots. And each and every dot, number, or data point, basically, will have its own index number in that array. The index number is how we... Because say I put the number 5 in the first slot, and the number 6 in the second slot. How do I call for 5 from the name of array? Okay, from my car. How do I say that I want Chevy instead of Ford? Well, what I use is I say my car, okay, and I put in 0 in the index number, and that will bring up Chev for me, Chevy. And that's really useful, okay? And so what we'll do now is we'll add in a way for the ellipse to push its mouse x and mouse y values into the matrix. So the way we do this is with a modifier for the matrix called dot push. Okay, and so what we do is this: we say matrix dot push, and then we put the value that we wanted to push into the matrix inside the two parentheses. Okay, and so that value will be mouse x, and then we should do another one simply for mouse y. Okay, and so now we are pushing each and every dot's x and y coordinate one by another into the matrix. Okay, so say I put one dot here and another dot here. Okay, say that's 100 across, 50 down, and 200 across, 50 down. What will happen is 100 across will become the first value inside matrix, 50 across will become the second value, then 200 across will become the third, and then 200 across, 50 for the y coordinate will become the fourth value. Okay, simple enough, right? Okay, so now that we have all the x and y coordinates being saved inside of this matrix, we can simply make it so that after we click panel and we click X out of it, everything that we had inside that matrix should be displayed once again. Okay, and so what we'll do for that is this: we'll say if we click on the X, okay, then what should happen is a loop actually is what we'll use. It should run through the matrix and create dots at every x and y coordinate. Okay, and for the loop, I'm just going to quickly review how the loop works. So, we're going to use a for loop, okay, and this for loop works like this. You have to have the initial expression, which is initialization expression, which is where you define the variable, and we'll use I as well. And then we'll have the test/conditional expression, which is what happens is that for this loop, it will happen over and over and again, so long as this is true, okay? Okay, and so if I is starting at 1, so long as I is less than 1 or equal to 10, less than 10 or equal to 10, it will happen, this whatever is inside this loop over and over, okay? And each iteration of that loop, you will add 1 to the I. Okay, so what will happen is that this loop will happen 10 times, because the first time it's 1, so it will go through, and then you'll add 1 to that, because you're adding, plus means add 1 to 1, so that becomes 2, and 2 is less than or equal to 10, so it happens again, and that keeps happening until this I becomes the value 10, and the 10 is equal to 10, so that'll happen, this becomes 11, and 11 is not equal to 10, so then this loop is over, and it'll move on to the next piece of code. So we're going to create a similar loop. We're going to say for, and then we're going to say var I, that's how we define our I, and we'll start at 0, because remember how arrays, they start at 0, okay? So, we'll create the initialization there, and we want I to go for as long as the matrix length is. And so this is another modifier here. We'll say so long as I is less than matrix.length, you need to keep going. So matrix.length in this case will be 4, because we had 2 dots here. I mean, they've disappeared now, but that would be 4. And so the I, so long as this is less than 4, it should happen. Okay? And so then we'll also say I should be added to. And we'll get back to this part in a bit, okay? Because I don't want to... there's a little thing that we're going to have to do there before this loop is over, because it's a little hitch if you don't do it correctly. So, what do we want each time to happen? We want a dot to occur, okay? And before we should probably modify what this dot will look like, so we want a similar dot to this dot. And this dot right here is filled in red, and it's a no stroke. So, we'll say no stroke, and filled in red. Oh, and actually it's blue, sorry, what am I saying? So we go here, we say 255, that's now blue. Okay, wonderful. And so we say make a dot at every single x coordinate, okay, that's given. So x coordinates will be the first coordinate, so we'll just say I. okay? And this I will give us the first x coordinate that we put into it. And then the y coordinate is the next one right after I. So say 0 is the x coordinate, 1 would be the y coordinate. So we'll say matrix I plus 1, because that means that if this one I was 0, right, like it starts here, then this would be 1, okay? And then we also want it to be 15, just like the one before. Now, here's the part where it hitches up, okay? In our array, we have the x coordinate here, we have the y coordinate here, and that's just one dot. The next dot would be 2 and 3, which would be x coordinate here and y coordinate here, okay? So, because we want each dot to be shown, we don't want to add 1 for the update expression. We want it to add 2. So x coordinate for one dot, x coordinate for second dot, x coordinate for third dot, because if we only add 1, then it will give us a y coordinate of a dot as the x coordinate of the next dot, which is not what we want. So we'll say plus equal to 2. And this should give us what we want. And I believe that's it. Okay, so now if we try this, we'll paint a little smiley face here. Oh dear, that's horrible, but it's okay. And now panel, we come back, and it didn't work. So let's quickly find out why. Okay, so I figured it out. Earlier the issue was that after painting and clicking panel and clicking that, nothing would show up. And accidentally what I had done was I had changed these from brackets, what they're supposed to be, into parentheses. And that's the issue, because these are supposed to be brackets. So, quickly change those, and your problem is fixed. Now you paint a line there, you click that, and it works. I think that was from before. So, let's make a smiley face. Yep. And there we go. Smiley face is back. And say if I add in a head, I click panel, and it still works. Okay, so that's that. And so yeah, that's how you use a matrix and a loop to get past your problem. I hope you found this very useful. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.